They'll be calling you a radical. Back to Fukushima, back to my activism, back to my literature, back to my art, back to my activism, back to survival, back to the starfish and why that's so important. Very, very important. And I want to talk about this, and then I've been asked this many, many times to do this, and I've done this many times, but I'm going to do it again in probably more detail about surviving horrific cancers. Not, you know, cancers that you get your breast cut off, which those are horrible. All cancers are horrible, but the really killer called AML, leukemia, and, you know, brain, pancreas, these hardcore radicals, really, that's all we have left of survival. That's it. There's no fixing Fukushima. There's no turning off Fukushima. There are no answers. And you want a solution? Let's have a symposium. Let's have a Facebook page. Whatever. By the way, I got an email a while back from Facebook telling me I was administrator on 212 Facebook groups. Really? I didn't even know I was on one. I don't participate in any of them. None. Zero. I mean, it's just friendship baiting. I mean, I've been trying to be teed up by the best of the best in every way. That's the beauty of freaking technology. That's the beauty. Emails, voicemails, YouTube videos, proof. The meeting of the minds. But we have no meeting of the minds. That's the problem. There is no answer. There is no answer. Fukushima is worse yesterday than it was today. Worse the day before yesterday than it was yesterday, and so forth and so on. And there's no curing it. And I want to talk about the only thing we have left to survive the great American experiment. And if you don't understand, these videos are a new form of art. They're really so much literature, the visual blues, I've called them, whatever. You know, I could have written 1,000 books, and I'm going to write a lot of books now that I'm getting stronger. And I do what I got to get me a good editor and a good publisher. And I've been working on that, you know. Somebody will step forward and help me out with that. We'll get that done. But as far as survival goes and why the starfish, and I want to talk about this. So many people come back, oh, they call it a virus. I think they properly called it a virus. And I want to explain why. Now, we know in factual detail that the virus that is created called so many of these autoimmune deficiency diseases, AML, leukemia, so many of these things, are perfectly correlated with some type of mutation. We know that they're perfectly correlated with nuclear fallout. That's no commentary, proof. The greatest cover-up, and, you know, it's been hypothesis. Now, don't take this out of context and say I said this, because I've never said this. It's been hypothesized that the HARP is controlling the weather pattern to push the jet stream over the western United States to protect the food basket, because they know why they're trying to fix Fukushima, and they cannot fix Fukushima. Now, we can get into that big T. I could write 1,000 books. We could talk about the mutations, whatever, but as far as the starfish goes, as I've named it, acute starfish leukemia, I think that's exactly what it is. Now, when he goes back and says, oh, the virus, we see it laying dormant in the late 40s. What was the first test started dumping nuclear fallout in the Pacific Ocean? The late 40s. You know, we go to the Bikini Atoll, but they were doing stuff before that. You know, we know that factually. At Berkeley, at Livermore, in California. We know this factually, including marching my father into the desert in 1941 and nuking him to death. You know, what they did. And look, I have a twin sister. We know that's a mutation now. We know that's a mutation. That doesn't just happen. It's so rare, but it happened a bunch in the late 50s and the early 60s. There's a lot of us, male-female twins. There's a bunch of us out there, and it's as serious. I knew from a young age that something was very different with me. Something very different. You know, it took my second grade teacher, you know, and some people to kind of identify it. I couldn't quantify it. I mean, I had issues, but I had this incredible brain. I couldn't communicate. Now people want to call it autism. They want to call it on the scale. But, you know, I've learned, you know, my style, my writing style, my literature style, whatever. That's what it is. It's a mutation of a genetic, not a flaw, the virus, you know. We know that there's a lot of the similarities between acute myeloid leukemia and AIDS are unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now they're even using HIV in thing because it's a mutation of a genetic. I mean, the ultimate control freaks out of control. The great American experiment, which this is all it's been, is over. I mean, it turned out to be a failure. It didn't last that long. Now, and people say, oh, it went on until the day Bush stole the election and the Patriot Act was passed. America was over. The colonials, which they tried to get it back, want to go, by the way, Teddy, when he wanted to invade Canada, I wish he would have. McKinley told him, no, I'll send them there if you do. You know, he wanted to take it from the Queen, you know, and Wouldn't let him, and then McKinley gets killed by the Queen. The anarchists solely, we know who killed them. You know, we got a big win, by the way, in Ferguson yesterday by the protesters. The protesters filed suit for the cost of press, and they want, you know, it's our streets. It's our capital. It's our mace. It's our, you know, all of it. But I want to talk about the survival. I want to talk, this is the smoking gun, this study. It exactly 100% correlates with nuclear fallout in human beings. Look. They cannot turn off Fukushima. They're not going to be able to turn off it. It will never be turned off. It's continued to pour in the ocean forever. TEPCO's own words. You know, all of it, which, come on. Japan was colonialized in 45. You know, I do that out there. And I want to talk about my activism, and then I want to talk about survival. Just in the last 12 months. You know, why sick? Very, very sick. My activism at Livermore on Thanksgiving. Me and Heather, whoa, whoa. That was so intense for days. I mean, the places I've been, the things I've done at the Megan Rice trial in Knoxville, Tennessee. Wow, I mean, so important recording this history. I mean, at Diablo Canyon on Valentine's Day. Wow, that was awesome, by the way, down there. In San Francisco on Ocean Beach twice. In San Diego for the USS Reagan hearing for 2 years, off and on. An incredible protest on every pier up and down, walk up and down at Ocean. I mean, at the Carlsbad San Onofre hearing shut down 3 different times. I mean, over and over. Blocking the Blue Castle from my room. Exactly 3 years ago, I was going in and out of a coma every day. I was in the sick every time I get held down because I was so heavily involved in blocking the nuclear generator on the Green River. You know, fighting this. I mean, fighting on multiple fights, my human rights activists. This is nothing new. Anybody that knows me knows this is nothing new. More acute? Absolutely. You know, it's been amazing. I never picked this path. I never picked this path. You know, there's lots of things I could be doing. Did I make some deals? Yeah, I made some deals in that hospital 3 years ago. Not with God, whether God there be. I'm a very spiritual person. Always have been very spiritual. And everybody says, oh, you're a pagan, whatever. Huh. Let's talk about how do they set the date of Easter? Let's see, the first Sunday after the first full moon after that. It sounds pretty pagan to me. But anyway, I'm a very spiritual person. I'm very in symphony with the landscape. Always have been. That was my coping mechanism. And okay. Fukushima happens. I was incredibly healthy. And I'll talk about what led up to the signs of my cancer. I'm doing these videos. It's going to give you leukemia. It's going to give you leukemia. It's from the day it happened. Going crazy, going in a really acute, intense, really intense way, which absolutely exactly how I should have been doing as the artist, as the writer, as a human being with a soul. Trying to warn people, trying to, you know, run around with my hair on fire because it's the greatest ecological catastrophe in human history. I knew it. So I'm screaming and going crazy. In July 2011, my earwax went solid just one night. Now I know radical change in earwax means something's wrong. I could sense a little bit going on in me, but it was nothing, you know, whatever. And come along, I'm doing my financial videos, the market's melting down, I'm like, double down, you know, I'm doing my, you know, every day you guys watching, I'm saying, sell, you know, your gold at 1900, buy Tesla at 16, you know, I'm up every 5 o'clock in the morning as the sun's coming up doing my market for some kids that came out of my program, and, you know, saying, hey, you'll never get an opportunity to double down, buy this, and these videos are all laying there. Well, I told somebody, I says, I could feel a little tickle in my stomach. It didn't feel nothing. Well, October 13th, 2011, I got a stomach ache, thought I had food poisoning. I mean, you guys, a lot of people watching know how intense this has been. I mean, it was horrible, and it just got worse and worse. For me to call an ambulance in the middle of the night, misdiagnosed over and over for 30 days, went back and forth. You know, finally they CAT scanned me, tumors wrapped around my lower bowel. I knew enough about leukemia, long story. But I'd had a dream in August, the most utopic dream I'd ever had. And you know, I have Danish bloodlines, and I like Danish philosophy. And lo and behold, I land with 2 Danish doctors right from Denmark who saved my life. And I told them about that dream. And they're like, you hold on to that dream. They know that you can't trick the subconscious. And so when I'm in there dying, there was about 30 of us in northern Utah that I knew. My friend right down the street, 2 of them one of them got sick the exact same day. You know, in their brain, in their pancreas, in their stomach, all of it. And we went along, and there's about 30 of us that got sick at the exact same time. I'm the only one alive out of the group. The only one. And as I'm in the hospital where deals made, I mean, the type of disease I have, the survival rate, a lot of it's the diagnosis, the fight, the heavy, I mean, it's nearly impossible to survive this disease. The type I have, AML de novo, really a radical form, but I have survived it. And I want to talk about how, because that's all we have left. You know, because it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. The longevity in America should be approaching well into the 90s by now with the technology and everything we have, but, you know, people don't take care of themselves, obvious. People, you know, that we're up against so much thing, but it's the nuclear radiation in the atmosphere. The starfish is such an important study, the first one that come out. You know, these liars and these rats and these cover-up trolls, which will be viewed in history just what I named the black and yellow journalistic whores that they are. War profiteers, they're sickening, they're disgusting. I did this exactly, this place, my path was chiseled before I was born. You know, which is sad. I mean, it's really horribly sad to think about that, how your path is altered. So I want to talk about the survival, I want to talk about the genetic mutation. I mean, we know these autoimmune deficiency, these hardcore radical cancers that mow people down. And I went from 170 to 30 in 3 weeks. So as I survived, they put the, you know, in my jugular, the heavy RCM squared, M squared went on and on for months. Rounds of it. I got 2 infections in there, almost passed from those. You know, it's brutal. I mean, it's a Hail Mary, it's hardcore. I mean, burned the pigment out of my eyes. I went through puberty 15 times. It was horrible. People watched along, but the video do really no justice. I mean, in an intense unit from hell. I had money. I sold every dime I had to get in, you know, I mean, that's just the way the game works. My hospital bill is paid because I had some money. I had to fork it over everything, and, you know, I'm glad I did, and I think I talked to the hospital the other day. They says, you guys, I think out of all this huge bill, I had a philanthropist help me out, and some different things, whatever. And I did not get public assistance. I didn't get it. You know, Social Security. I mean, I was too sick to fight with them, and fuck them, liar rats. Just like when they killed my father, they didn't, you know, oh, we got a fund that we pay the atomic. They never paid any of the atomic vets, by the way. Not, the only one memorial in the world is the ones we put up, well, the community put up for my dad. He was that loved in this community. And so, at our cemetery, we have a memorial for him and others who were killed in action. But nothing, not a penny, not a thank you, not nothing, just spit in my mother's face, actually. You know, and the altering, so then I get it, which we know that a lot of their children get it. And, you know, I think Fukushima piled on. But we can get into that, but I want to talk a little bit about survival and how this ties into the starfish. And this is just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. The eagle's dying out here, right behind my house. I did videos on those. I've been all over this study. I've documented it in history, and time will tell. And, you know, there's a lot of you good bloggers and vloggers should be mixing, you know, taking these videos and putting, you know, helping a guy out, putting him in chronological and saying, hey, okay, let's talk about, you know, best of, whatever. You know, this has been hard. It's been a lot of fucking work. Incredible work. You know, I've been so many places and done so many things. It's so hardcore. It's been brutal. I mean, documenting this history, it's been that important. Thus, my gig is called Post-Ignorance. Black, white, blanch, Schwartz, and I get into Leggetti so much, you know, Schwartz, the German word for black, blanch, the French word for white, you know, and I have no French blood, it's an adopted name, but anyway, so as survival, and they went along heavy chemo, my body wasn't recovering. They wanted to do 5 rounds, after 3 rounds they couldn't do it anymore. I just couldn't recover. Well, a guy named Brian Morris had gone through the same thing, and actually even had the surgery via the misdiagnosis. I diagnosed myself, by the way. Argued and argued and argued. Found a YouTube video with 14 views. Argued with the pathologist. Pathologist had it wrong. You know, and by the way, de novo, when it presents in tumors, is almost always a death sentence. But not always. I'm here to prove you can survive any of these diseases because there's no, I mean, some of the people that survive, but our group, I'm the only one. Now, why was I surely didn't pick my path. But I had to be the biggest jackass in the fucking world to not keep my activism going forward. 24/7. I have been relentless. Yeah, did I make yeah, to myself. I'm a very spiritual person. Very spiritual person. You know, I don't believe in organized religion, but, and, you know, that's what I do. Fight for the mighty blue lady, you know. And I fought my ass off in an intense, this has been unbelievably intense for 3 years. So they says, we can't chemo you anymore, and I was scheduled for the bone marrow transplant, and it looked like I was going to die April 24th, and it was horrible, but I'll never forget, they lay on your back and they dig into your bone. I've had it done a lot of times. They go into your hip, You know, I kept calling the hospital. I was sent home, and I was actually at McQuack visiting my mom, who had had breast cancer at the same time, and she was in there, who's still alive, you know, and I was in there, and it looked like I was probably going to die because I wasn't responding anymore, and I was scheduled for a bone marrow transplant, and I was too weak for it, you know, and my blood counts were too weak. Physically and mentally, I was plenty strong enough, and so, you know, they bone marrow us one last time, and I'll never forget it. Waiting for them to call, waiting for them to call. So I'm calling them. They says, well, doctor, she wants to talk to you, one of the doctors. I have this incredible team of doctors. I got lucky to land there. And I'll never forget, she was choked up. I said, Kevin, we have a little bit of hope. We see a little bit of flicker, you know. I don't know what you're doing, but, you know, you interested in maybe taking another route? And so we met, and you know, just me and the doctors by myself, because this is a very personal choice. I didn't involve my family. I didn't involve anybody in that choice. I knew it had to be me from my subconscious, and I believed in my doctors. I believed in them by now. I mean, and so I put a lot of weight into what they said, and they says, we kind of just want to follow you. We don't know what you've been, we do know what you've been doing, but we want you to keep doing it. Because I laid in that bed and I said, I'm not going down taking a call third, so I'm going out swinging. I fought and fought. I was hiking and walking. When I even, against doctor's orders, went to the San Onofre hearing with a central line hanging out of me against doctor's orders, but I still did it anyway. You know, and my activism and my acute, intense, erotic fight in a way, my literature, my art. I mean, I was always the artist. Everybody always knows I was the artist. You know, and I could get into some in-depth, fucking deep fucking subject matter. And I've tried to use metaphors. I use everything in this incredible genre, this powerful genre. These videos are literature, they're poetry, the visual blues, everything all mixed together. You know, lots of, I mean, symbolism, metaphors, counterculturalism, you know, using everything, because that's how big this is. The great American experiment has failed. It's over. We're going down the same road to Russia. It's American toxic now. You know, as we stood in front of Carlsbad with that pitchfork, that's a powerful video Roy and I did. Powerful. I mean, really powerful. So, walking and hiking every day, every morning, the meditation. You know, as I travel, I get up every morning. I'm relentless. I'm in bed at a decent hour, and make sure I get rest on my body. But in the morning I have coffee, black, 20 ounces. I usually have some baked goods, whatever, as long as it's fresh baked goods. Now, it's important that I do cheat once in a while. My dietitian says it's important so your body doesn't get lazy on you. And so, I drink carrot juice every day. Now, even Bot House that comes in the stores, that's how they started. They started out as carrot farmers. And I know some of the organic farmers that I met while I was in my activism in Eugene, Oregon. I have a juicer that Lonnie Clark sent me. But anyway, I walk every single day. My activism's really strong and powerful, and I stay focused on what's right and what's wrong, and I know what's right and wrong, and my intensity on the truth, on the reality of this disease. I don't let anybody touch me, as far as females or whatever, that has a negative vibe about them. That's important. I think that's very important. Even if it's a massage therapist or whatever, they have to be very certain people with that touching you, because that energy, and I've known that, and so I've kept my distance away from, you know, people that I should have touching me. You know, and I've tried, but diet, yes. I've been in the sun. I stand in the sun. Like when I'm in California, I go on the beach early in the morning. I do some, you know, I used to call it angry yoga, but I do some meditation there. You know, the whole walking meditation, the prayer, which is meditation to me. And then, you know, I drink carrot juice every day. I eat a lot of avocados. I eat a lot of this fresh salsa that has onions and tomatoes, but it's all fresh stuff. I try to stay as fresh fruit as I can. I like beet juice a lot. Now, I'll eat some meat if I'm feeling, my tank's feeling empty or whatever, and I've tried to cut cheese. No milk. Hell no. No dairy. No dairy. And, you know, it's hard to cut cheese out. And once in a while I'll eat some cheese. And once in a while I'll eat even a little bit of ham. I'll wrap some ham and some cheese and eat it if I'm feeling my tank's really empty. And I'm very different because the chemo hammered me so hard. My doctor talks about the building block of the protein. How important. I'll eat some nuts or whatever. You know, and I eat a lot of, I like cookies. Fresh made pumpkin cookies. Fresh baked goods. My dietitian, she loves that. And I really push back on dairy as much as I possibly can. You know, we all eat a lot of cheese, but I don't eat any pizza. And I think I've eaten a couple hamburgers, you know, and I was a beef eater. I don't eat much beef anymore, but once in a while, I eat some chicken once in a while, but I'm even getting away from that because I don't even like it, you know, and so, but I need the protein to build me back up, and so this is about survival now. That's all any of us, because the longevity rate with the technology and the science we should have should be going like this, and it's not. It's going to go like this. Because of our own ignorance. You know, the nuclear industry is a slaughtering. Is it eugenics? Oh, I can dive way into that. That was another place I protested twice. I protested twice just this year alone on Berkeley, at San Diego State. I've been on all these universities. I've been so many places. I mean, it's documented. There's a lot of it out there. You know, in Washington D.C. twice, the Million Mass Man March. You know, Million Mass March. You know, wow. You know, New York City with post-ignorance so many times. The Climate March. All of it. I've been, you know, it's been an amazing journey. The intense fighting for what's right. Now, there's a reason. Come on. I live, they die. Why? And I'm telling you, some of those were some of the strongest, most beautiful, intense, amazing people in the primes of their lives. That's what this evil, murdering regime does. Do I hate them? Oh, fuck yeah, I hate them. My goal? Shut down every fuck. What is the answer? How do we solve this? Easily. Quit fucking making more. Stop. 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 We don't use it. It's just cash cow. Now, post-ignorance is my art movement, but the Post-Ignorance Project is a counter to the Manhattan Project. The Post-Ignorance Project basically consists of me and Lonnie Clark and Harry Jordan building our websites for free. That's all that's involved. And, you know, we do this. You know, stop making more. Put it at Yucca Mountain, centrally located, shoot it into fucking space, and then, you know, fight your ass off not to fucking be mowed down in the prime of your life for fucking cancer. You know, I want to go home. I'm going to go home. I mean, my bloodlines lived in Switzerland and Denmark for fucking millions of years. You know, the Mormon kidnappers brought us here not that long ago. America's a failure. A giant fucking failure because of one thing. Fear. You know, Alan Greenspan totally caught, but we can recover from economic strife. We've done it over and over and over and over. We did it after fucking the Civil War when the Queen tried to co-opt the fucking country then. You know, we've done it many times, but this is different. It's never happened. Thomas Ackerman calls it the age of fission, which is a brilliant genius connotation, but there's no turning off Fukushima. There's no fucking cleaning it up. There probably never will be. So it's about survival now. And that's what this is about. And I hope this has showed, you know, my post-ignorance that I wrote, 10, 10, 10. Oh yeah, let's not forget about being there, the shirtwaist fire. There's another piece just this year in my activism, which that was awesome, by the way. I mean, talk about emotional. I see post-ignorance as a pure art movement in the concept of art itself, and the concept of art is culture, and the concept that people are culture, and the concept inspiration and influence our great historic artists, like Van Gogh and Malay, like poets references to Kandinsky, like Monet's to the sunlight, morning, dawn, winter, summer, spring. It is influenced by the involvement of time. My look at culture and art there is today, economic theory, popular culture, art, or morality, lack thereof art. The mind see when others, for uncognitive reason, do not see. Everyone saw late for millenniums. Everyone saw a simple line for millenniums. Everyone saw eclectic color for millenniums. It is more per se than the artist. Monet saw the light. Malay saw the struggle. Van Gogh saw the line. Smithson saw the simplicity of the line, the shape against the landscape. Kandinsky saw the election of color and shape. Pollock saw the color of dynamics in motion. But much more than that, they saw decades ahead of the truth. Their minds saw fact, truth, and their minds were strong enough to act upon what they understood when others did not understand, not yet. They had strong backs and knew how to work. They were the purification of ambition, intelligence, education, smooth with worth ethic. I have visualized, and I go on and on and on. This painting, I really love this thing, you know. You know, the light shines. It's an oil painting, you know. It was my idea. After I sketched it, I painted it, you know, in Canada. Wow. I mean, the radiation is pouring through me, you know. This is literature. This is literature. This is literature, you know. Recording in history, communications. I've done my part, and I'll continue to do my part. You know, and I want to go home. I do. I want to go home. And I'm headed there. I'm headed there in a few months. That's where I'm going to go. You know. Have I given up on America? No. I'm going to continue to fight. My children live here. And I'll never leave here permanently. But, you know, it's been a failure. It's heartbreaking. It's sad that the way we handled nuclear. We gave up this country. We gave up everything. We fucking gave up our lives. We destroyed our future. We destroyed our children. We killed everybody. What? To make the nuclear industry that fairy tale bunch of fucking lies. The Manhattan Project. You know, gone amok. It never turned off. You know, wealth without work. That's all it's turned into. I mean, what we've evolved to, and the country ended. By the way, the country was over in 2000 when Bush stole the election. hijacked the Supreme Court, the Patriot Act. I mean, seriously, it backdoored the Constitution. We're a republic with a Constitution. And without the Constitution, without the fourth pillar of the